Today I want to introduce you to a concept that I find very, very important. If you are able to fully understand this phenomenon, it is going to help you a great deal to improve your pronunciation as well as your writing skills. This is something that speakers of Twi do without even realizing it. So I entreat you to take this series very seriously. For this particular lesson, I'm just going to introduce you to the phenomenon, and then in the subsequent lessons, we are going to delve into the different aspects of this concept. Now, in the very beginning, we looked at the Akan alphabet. I'll leave it linked up here. But just so we are on the same page, let's go over the letters of the Akan alphabet. We have A, B, D, E, F, G, I, K, L, M, N, O, O, P, R, S, T, U, W, Y. So these are the letters of the Akan alphabet. So as you can see, we have 22 letters in the Akan alphabet. Now, out of these 22 letters, 15 of them are consonants, as you can see. So we have 15 consonants, and then we have 7 vowels. Now, for our purpose, we are going to focus on the vowels. So let's do away with the consonants. So as you can see, we have 7 vowels. But these are only at the level of writing. So these are the vowel letters that we actually write. But in terms of the sounds, the vowel sounds that we produce, they are 10, not 7. So it means we have 3 extra vowel sounds that we don't write in standard Twi. When we want to represent them in writing, we use some of these letters, the 7 letters that we have here. We use some of them to represent those extra 3 sounds. So in this lesson, I told you that the A, E, and O vowels, so these 3, they represent 2 vowel sounds each. So unlike the 4 other vowels that represent a single sound each, these 3 vowels, the A, the E, and the O vowels, each of them represents 2 distinct sounds. So that is what brings us to the total of 10 vowel sounds. But the extra sound each for these 3 vowel letters, we don't write them in standard Twi. And that is why we say we have 15 consonants and 7 vowels. But in actual fact, the vowel sounds are 10. So in this lesson, I told you that the vowel A can be realized as the regular A sound that I just produced. So when you are saying the Akan alphabet, you start with A. So that sound, the vowel A, can be realized as that, A. But apart from that, this vowel can also be realized as as in any, right? Any, or ebufu, ebufu. So you don't say abufu, right? You don't say abufu or ani for the I. You say ebufu or any. So that sound. And before you go like, why would we have different sounds for the same letter and all that? Please note that it's worse in English. But you just know it because you are an English speaker. Speakers of the language do not have to think about this. They just know it. But as a language learner, you would have to learn this, like this. So please bear with me. It's worse in English. For example, the letter A in English, you have A in abandon, right? You have A in ace. So between even abandon, we have A, right? And then ace, it becomes E, right? In flare. You can go on and on. So it's worse, right? But for this one, for Twi, it's just 2 sounds each. So what I was saying was the letter A, the vowel A, can be realized as A, as in akoko, right? Akoko, a chicken. And it can also be realized as as in ebufu or eni, right? The vowel E can be realized as the regular E sound that you find in a word like dede, okay? Dede, noise. But it can also be realized as E. This E is the same sound that you find in the English word pit, for example. Pit, sit, right? So the E in the middle, this E can be realized as that, right? So we have E in dede or kiteki, right? A train. And then we have E as in siri, okay? Siri. Or ketwa. Ketwa, when you say ketwa small, you have ke, te, wa, right? Ketwa. So that E sound, this is what we represent that by in writing, all right? And then we have the O vowel. And the O vowel can be realized as the regular O. So the O that you say when you are saying the Akan alphabet, right? So we have O, but this can also be realized as O as in pot, right? Pot in English. So the O in the middle, that is what we are talking about here. But in writing, we represent this by the U letter, okay? So this is what brings the total number of vowel sounds to 10 instead of the 7 that we have at the level of writing. Now, a good question to ask at this point will be, so if I come across A, right, the vowel A in a word, how do I know whether I should pronounce that as the regular A or I should pronounce that as as in ebufu, right? Or if I come across E, the vowel E in a word, how do I know whether I should pronounce that as E, the regular E, or as as in siri or sisa, for example? And if I come across the vowel U in a word, how do I know whether I should pronounce that as the regular U or as O as in koto, okay, koto, for example? And these are some of the questions that I'm going to try to help you to answer with the phenomenon that we are going to be exploring in this series. And the name of the phenomenon is vowel harmony. Vowel harmony. And just as the name suggests, this simply means harmony between vowels in an environment. This is a phenomenon that restricts the occurrence of certain vowels within the same environment. We are going to get into this and you are going to understand. Now, let's look at the 10 vowel sounds that we have. So the 7 vowels at the level of writing plus the extra 3 for the A, E, and O vowels. So when we put these together, we get 10 vowel sounds. Now, these 10 vowel sounds can be divided into 2 equal sets based on the position of the tongue roots, the root of the tongue when you produce, the sounds. But you don't have to worry about that. I have made the division for you. You just have to memorize these 2. I just wanted you to know that the division was made based on the position of the tongue roots when you say, the sounds. So for the first set, when you say them, the tongue roots is pushed forward, right? And for the second set, when you say them, the tongue root is relaxed, right? So it retracts to the back. So that is how the division is made. But as a language learner, you don't need to bother yourself with the tongue root positioning and all that. Just memorize these 2 sets. So we have the first set of 5, which we call the plus ATR, advanced tongue roots. And then we have the second set, which we call minus ATR, unadvanced tongue roots, okay? So we have the plus ATR set, and then we have the minus ATR set. Just memorize these 2 and you are fine. Now, vowel harmony ensures that as much as possible, vowels from either sets do not co-occur within the same environment. So as much as possible, the vowels that you find within an environment will be restricted to one of these sets. So in most cases, you will not find vowel sounds from, the two sets mixed together within an environment. And we are talking about vowel sounds here, not, the letters, not just the letters. So in most cases, you don't find them mixed together. In a lot of cases, you find that vowels from the same set co-occur within an environment. And this is not just within a word, it's within a word and even across words sometimes. So when vowels from the same set, so for example, vowels in the plus ATR or vowels in minus ATR occur within the same environment, we say it's harmonious, right? There's vowel harmony. And as much as possible, that is what should happen. But if you come across an environment where vowels from either set, so let's say you have vowels in plus ATR set and vowels in minus ATR set appearing within the same environment, then there isn't harmony. And in that case, a sound or sounds must change to ensure that there is harmony. And it is something that speakers of Twi do without even realizing it, because the mouth of the speaker cannot even allow the production of sounds from either sets within the same environment. It doesn't work. It's not harmonious. So when that happens, a change is made or changes are made in speech. So you would find that in writing, a sound from this plus ATR, and then there's a sound from minus ATR. But then in speech, you find that there'll be a change so that the harmony that we are looking for will happen at the level of speech. Now, having learned this, let's look at some Twi words with this knowledge, and then you will see how harmonious the vowel sounds in almost every Twi word are. Let's start with mekyea. Mekyea, which is an anthill. Now, we have A in front. The A, this A is from the plus ATR set. It is a regular A that you find in Dede, for example. And then we have E, and E is part of the 4 vowels that produce a single sound, right? So we have E, which is E, and this is in the plus ATR set as well. And finally, we have A again, which is same as the first one, also from the plus ATR set. So we can say the vowel sounds in this particular word are in perfect harmony, right? Because all the vowel sounds here belong to the same set, which is the plus ATR set, okay? Now, another example, we can have a sing, and a sing is the teeth, right? Now, is one of the 4 vowels that produce single sound, right? So this is what you find in the English word pen. So once we have this coming from the minus ATR set, it means the environment will be in perfect harmony if any other vowel sound is from within the minus ATR set. And indeed, we have the other vowel sound as e. So this is not E, the regular E. I told you the E vowel represents 2 distinct sounds. So we have the E as in Dede, as in mekyea that we just looked at. But we also have E as in Siri or Sisa, right? Which you find in the English word pit or sit, right? So that is the sound that we have here. E, not E. If it were E, this will not be harmonious, okay? So this even gives you the idea as to which sound you should go for. Because once we had the which is from the minus ATR set, we were almost certain that the other vowel sound will be from the minus ATR set as well. So since the vowel E represents 2 sounds, and one of them is plus ATR, which is the E, the regular E, and the other is minus ATR, which is A, then we know that this will be A, right? So we have a sing, which is, the teeth. We can also have kuku, which is, the traditional pot that we have here. So we have kuku. Now, the U here is one of the 4 vowels that have just a single sound, right? So U is always U, and U is from the plus ATR set, right? So once you have this U and we have another U after the second K, right? Then the last U that you have there, this U is one of the 3 vowels that produce 2 distinct sounds, right? We said U can be O, right? It can represent the sound O, or it can be O, as in pot, right? But we are able to tell that this O represents the regular sound O because that O is plus ATR and U is plus ATR. So to get this to be in perfect harmony, all the vowel sounds must be from the same ATR set, right? So once we have the U, we know that this U is also from the plus ATR set. So we have kuku, but we also have kokor. Kokor, or the short form is koko, and that is the chest. Now for this one, you see the O at the end. Once you see that O, which is from the minus ATR set, this suggests that every other vowel sound must be from the minus ATR set for it to be in perfect harmony. All right? So once you have that O at the end, then the O that you have in the koko bit, right? We said O can be realized as the regular O or as O in, pot, for example. But we know that the O, the regular O, is plus ATR. So once we have the O at the end being minus ATR, it cannot be that. It has to be the O which is from the minus ATR set for this to be in perfect harmony. All right? So that is why we have this as ko, and not ko. It doesn't even work. So it's ko. All right? Let's see another example. We have a two, and you can see the U in the middle. And I told you this U is one of the 4 vowels that come with just one sound, right? So U is always U. So once you see this U, which belongs to the plus ATR set, that it means every other vowel sound in there will most likely come from the plus ATR set. Okay? So once we have this U, it means the initial A that you find there will be from the plus ATR set, and that is the regular A sound. Okay? And again, the last O that you find there, even though O can be realized as O or as O, this can only be in perfect harmony if this is from the plus ATR set. And for that, we have the regular O, right? So we have a two as a gun. But then we have a two, and straight up, you see we have E, which is from the minus ATR set. And then we also have O at the end, which is also from the minus ATR set. And once you have that, it means the remaining vowel sound will be from the minus ATR set. So even though we say the O, right, the O in the middle can be realized as O or as O, we know straight up that it is the O because that is what is from the minus ATR set. So it can't be the O from the plus ATR set. Else, this will not be in harmony. Okay? So we have a two and not a two. No, it doesn't even work. So it's a two. Okay? A two. Let's see another one. We have a brew, and that is maize, right? So we have a brew. Now, you see the U in there. I told you U is always U. It's one of the 4. So we have U as U. And we know U is from the plus ATR set. So once we have that, then the A in front, we said the A vowel can represent the sound A. So the regular A, as in adanko. But it can also represent E, the sound E, which is from the plus ATR set. Okay? So once you have the U in there, which is from plus ATR, then this A must be from the plus ATR set for this to be in harmony. So instead of A, this is E. e. So we have ebru, right? Ebru, and not abru. We don't say abru. And the o at the end can be, the regular o, or it can be o. But we know it's not o because o is minus ATR, right? So for this to be in perfect harmony, the o at the end must be the plus ATR o. Okay, so we have ebru as maize. Let's add another one from the minus ATR set. So we have kotre, for example. Kotre, right? Kotre. And you see the e at the end. It's one of the minus ATR sounds that represent just a single sound. So once you have that and you know it's from the minus ATR set, then you know every other sound must be from the minus ATR set for this to be in perfect harmony. Okay? So once we have that, we know that the O after the K, right? After the initial K, the O there, this could have represented the regular O sound. But no, because we know that O is from the plus ATR set and we already have minus ATR at the end. So for this to be in perfect harmony, it must be from the minus ATR set. So the minus ATR sound of this O is O, as in pot, right? Pot. So we have ko, and not ko. So we don't say ko, it's ko. And again, the A that comes after the T, right? This A can represent the regular A sound or the A sound as in pit. But we know the A is from the plus ATR set. And since all the other vowel sounds are from the minus ATR set, it can't be that, because if it's from that set, then this will not be harmonious, right? So we know straight up that this is from the minus ATR set, and that is A, right? So we have kotre, and not ko-ti-re. No, it doesn't work. Okay, so you see what is going on. And I believe at this point, you now get why I said from the beginning that if you are able to fully understand this, it's going to help you to improve your pronunciation as well as your writing skills. So this is something that speakers of Twi just know without even thinking about. But you as a learner, you need to pay attention to this concept, and I'm sure it's going to help you a lot. So we have learned that vowel harmony ensures that as much as possible, the vowel sounds that appear within an environment are from within the same ATR set. So either all the vowel sounds within an environment are from the plus ATR set, or they are all from the minus ATR set. So from the examples that we looked at, you found that the vowel sounds from each of the words were from the same ATR set. So either all the vowel sounds were from the plus ATR set, or all the vowel sounds were from the minus ATR set. So we say they are in perfect harmony. But this is not always the case. So it's not always the case that you find all the vowel sounds within an environment from the same ATR set. But vowel harmony still ensures that there is harmony, if not at the level of writing, at the level of speech, because that has to happen for you to sound natural. And this is where the vowel harmony rule comes in. And this is the rule that you're going to use to try and answer the 3 questions that we posed at the beginning of this lesson. Now, pay attention. According to the vowel harmony rule, plus ATR sounds, so these sounds, they tend to change minus ATR sounds that precede them. So you know, in the ideal environment, sounds from one set, so either plus ATR or minus ATR, should appear within an environment for it to be considered harmonious, right? But it's not always the case. And when that does not happen, and then there is a minus ATR sound followed by a plus ATR sound, then the plus ATR sound tends to change that minus ATR sound into a plus ATR sound in speech. Let's take that again. So what we are saying is the vowel harmony rule ensures that there is almost always harmony amongst the vowel sounds within an environment. So in an ideal situation, you have an environment where all the vowel sounds in there are from within the same ATR set, either from the plus ATR set or from the minus ATR set. But this is not always the case. Sometimes you have, a mix of both. And when that happens, vowel harmony still ensures that there is harmony by changing a sound or two at the level of speech. And how it does that is, if you have a minus ATR sound and it's followed by a plus ATR sound, the plus ATR sound will cause the minus ATR sound that precedes it to change into a plus ATR sound at the level of speech. So for example, if I want to say Kofi will eat, that should be Kofi be didi, right? Kofi be didi, and I'm splitting the be and the didi because I want you to hear how they sound individually, right? So there's be and then there's didi, right? But in natural speech, you hear Kofi be didi, Kofi be didi. So the be changes into be. Why? Because there's e, right, in the verb, right? This e is from the plus ATR set. So while we have the e in be from the minus ATR set, once there is e from the plus ATR set coming after this e, the e, which is plus ATR, causes the e, which is minus ATR, to change into a plus ATR equivalent, which is a. And that ensures that there is harmony. You get it? So in speech, you as a learner will be listening to hear Kofi be didi. But what you mostly hear will be Kofi be didi, Kofi be didi, because vowel harmony is ensuring that there is harmony amongst the vowels in that environment. Again, if I want to instruct you as a single person to go and eat, so I want to tell you, go and eat, I'll say kodidi, kodidi. So you are hearing ko didi, right? Kodidi. But it's actually ko, right? So it starts with ko. So it should be ko didi. But in speech, you hear this mostly as kodidi, kodidi. Because while we have o here, which is from the minus ATR set, the next vowel is e. And e is from the plus ATR set. And once that happens, the e, which is the plus ATR sound, will cause this o to change into a plus ATR equivalent. In this case, o, right? So in speech, you hear this as kodidi, 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 instead of ko didi, right?
Oh, dia sem maye dada kawa kuma tuye.
So now that we have this rule, let's go back to the 3 questions that we posed at the beginning of the lesson and try to answer them. So the first question was, if you come across the vowel a, right, in a word or in an environment, how do you know whether to pronounce it as the regular a sound or as e, as in ebufu or eni, right? Now, we know the a sound, the regular a sound, is minus ATR. It's here, right? And we know the e sound is plus ATR. So based on the vowel harmony rule, if you come across this a, right, this a vowel, and then you find that the vowel that comes after this a is from the plus ATR set, then the a will most likely be pronounced as e, so the plus ATR version, because we said the plus ATR version of this is e, as in ebufu. So even if we take this ebufu as an example, when you spell it, you have a in front, so there's a, b, u, f, u, o, right? So we are unable to tell whether the initial a should be pronounced as the regular a or as e, right? But then the next vowel that comes after this initial a is u. And we know U is from the plus ATR set. And once that is established, then the initial A will most likely be pronounced as E, right? E from the plus ATR set. So we have Ebufu instead of Abufu. It doesn't work. So following from this, if you come across this A and you find that the vowel that comes next is from the minus ATR set, then the A will most likely be pronounced as the regular A because that is from the minus ATR set as well. So for example, we have Aponche, a goat, okay, Aponche. So we have A in front and the next vowel is O, and O is from the minus ATR set. So once you have that, then the initial A should be pronounced as the regular A because that is also from the minus ATR set to ensure that there is harmony. For the second question, we asked, if you come across the vowel E, okay, E, how do you know whether you should pronounce it as the regular E sound as in Dede, okay, or as E as in pit, right, or as in Sisa, in Chi, all right? Now, we know the regular E sound is a plus ATR sound, and the E sound is a minus ATR sound. So going by the vowel harmony rule, when you come across the vowel E, you need to look out for the next vowel sound. If that vowel sound is from the plus ATR set, then this E will most likely be pronounced as the regular E because this E is from the plus ATR set to ensure that there is harmony. But if the next vowel sound is from the minus ATR set, then this E will most likely be pronounced as the minus ATR equivalent, which is E, okay, E as in pit. So for example, we have Efie, okay, Efie. Now there's E in front. The next vowel is E, right? E, and we know E has only one sound, and it comes from the plus ATR set. So once we have E from the plus ATR set, then the A in front will most likely be pronounced as E because E is what we have in the plus ATR set. But if you have a word like tete, we have the vowel E coming after the initial T, right? And to know whether you should pronounce this as the regular E sound or as A, you know that the regular E sound is a plus ATR sound. And then we have the E, which is the minus ATR sound. So you just have to look at the next vowel. If the next vowel belongs to the plus ATR set, then the vowel E will most likely be pronounced as the plus ATR version, which is E, okay? But if it's a minus ATR sound, so if the next vowel is a minus ATR sound, then this vowel E will be pronounced as the minus ATR version, which is E, okay? So in this case, the next vowel is E, and E is one of the 4 vowels that come with just a single sound, right? And this E belongs to the minus ATR set. So straight up, the vowel E here will be pronounced as the minus ATR version, which is E. So we have tete, and not te. No, it doesn't work. So it's tete, okay, tete. And finally, if you come across the vowel U, okay, U, we said U can be realized as the regular U or as O, okay, O. So the O is plus ATR. And then we have O from the minus ATR. So if you come across a word and then you have this O in there, you need to look at the next vowel. If that next vowel is a plus ATR sound, then this O will most likely be pronounced as a plus ATR version, which is the regular O, okay, O. So for example, we have a word like opru. So we have O in front, and the next vowel is U, okay, U, and U has just one sound, and that is U in the plus ATR set. So once the next vowel that comes after the initial U is a plus ATR sound, then the initial U will most likely be pronounced as the plus ATR version, which is U, the regular U. So we have opru, okay? But if you find that the next vowel that comes after an O, the vowel O, is a minus ATR sound, then the O will most likely be pronounced as the minus ATR equivalent, which is O, O. So for example, we have sumro, sumro, so there are two O's here, right? But if you look at the end, we have O, and O has just one sound, O, and that belongs to the minus ATR set. And once we have that, then we know that the vowel sounds that precede this will most likely come from the minus ATR set as well, to ensure that there is harmony. Okay? So since we know that O can be pronounced as the regular O sound, which is plus ATR, or as O, which is minus ATR, then these O that we have here will most likely be pronounced as the O in minus ATR, because the O is already minus ATR. So instead of somoro, don't say that. So it's not somoro, it doesn't work. It should be sumro, sumro. So there's O, right? Sumro, sumro. So now that you know this, what I'll tell you to make everything simple is, if you come across a Twi word, look out for the vowels that are present in that particular word, apart from the A, E, and O vowels. Okay, so you set those aside and look out for the other vowels that are present in that particular word. If you find that the other vowels, apart from the A, E, and O vowels, if you find that the other vowels which represent just single sounds each, if you find that those vowels are from the plus ATR set, then the A, E, or O vowels that are present in that particular word will most likely be from the plus ATR set as well. Again, if apart from the A, E, and O vowels, if you find that the other vowels in there are from the minus ATR set, then the A, E, or O vowel that you find in that particular word will most likely come from the minus ATR set as well, to ensure that there is harmony.